We have solved technical difficulties
Okay.
and we're now ready to commence. All right. Make sure you edit that part out. Well, thanks for coming to another Institute for Digital and Advanced Ag Systems seminar. This is the series that's coming up, including today. I'll introduce Rob in a moment. But it is a very, I think, impressive set of people coming from industry. We hope that you can attend as many as fit your schedule and your interests. If you notice, sometimes you think, well, that is a business that isn't my specific area of work. But that doesn't mean that they won't say things that gives you a tremendous learning opportunity. And we've seen that in some previous ones, and I think today will be similar. So we hope you can join us for as many of those. And those that you miss, they are all recorded, and you can catch us on the YouTube channel. All right, so for today, we have Rob Janek, whom I've known only a little bit, but for a few years now. He does have Purdue blood in the family. He can maybe talk about that. But just briefly about Rob, he is a mechanical engineer with an MBA. His early in career was with Lucent Technologies, you know, the company, hardware and software. Then Alcatel must have bought Lucent, or they merged,
Yep.
right? So he was a project manager in charge of business transformation. Internal business transformation. Then he moved to Nokia. He was a director of IT at Nokia. Also in charge of digital transformation and artificial intelligence. Not too long ago, and a handful plus a couple of years, moved to CTB, Short-Time Brock Incorporated. They deal with, you'll see some of the products, I'm sure, in the presentation. Again, in charge of digital transformation, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence with CTB. So kind of a unique perspective in that I'm sure he's gained over the years knowledge about the ag things that are going on that CTB supports. But he doesn't come to us as an agronomist or an animal scientist. He is a business transformation IT guy. So, Rob, we're looking forward to your presentation, and thanks very much for helping.
Well, thank you, Dr. Buckmaster, and thank you, Melinda Smith, for having me. I'm Rob. Please interact throughout. The slides probably go 35 minutes, so there's time for Q&A afterwards too. So either way. Appreciate Purdue having me here, represent CTB and talk about different things about digital. So Dr. Buckmaster gave you my rundown. The only point that I wanted to mention was, mechanical engineer, where, I mean, some of you, you're all in graduate school or beyond, so maybe you don't care so much, but maybe on YouTube, you're trying to pick a degree. And I think as long as you get a good degree from a really impressive school like Purdue, you see different opportunities along the way and your interests versus opportunities, and you can, who knows where you'll end up. So I started mechanical engineering, and so you have a few years, you learn a few programming languages, but as hardware dropped down from the 80s and 90s, you bought Sun boxes or HP boxes, you weren't designing hardware, then the need for software development increased and increased. So, I took a C++ course at night, and just, so it was developing software for telecom. And so that's, and then I saw IT wasn't doing so well from all my years of software development, moving over to IT, no big deal. And then, so now I'm at the CIO at CTB, and I love it. So, if you're wondering, boy, did I make the wrong career choice? I mean, if you're in ag science and you wish you were a doctor, maybe, I don't know if that's a big difference either. You're learning quite a bit. But anyway, for what that's worth, just one data point. So a little bit about CTB. We're 2 hours east of here for our corporate headquarters. Maybe you know that. In Milford, Indiana, between Warsaw, Goshen. But we have our corporate headquarters and 3 business units are headquartered there as well. So Brock, grain bins, short-time chicken house equipment, pig tech equipment. And is my sound level okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So Purdue, being close to Purdue, care about a relationship. The degrees that you're all in can help us. So I'm glad to be here from that perspective. But anyway, we're founded about 70 years ago. We're a $1 billion company, 3,000 employees in the US and Europe primarily. We sell mostly through distributors. So if you want a grain bin, you buy through a Brock dealer, or pig house equipment, you buy through a pig tech dealer, for instance. Berkshire Hathaway purchased CTB about a little over 20 years ago. It's a really nice relationship. You know, the key thing with Berkshire Hathaway is ethics. Make sure you do good business. You know, you're gonna have good years, bad years, so it's not financial. You know, don't take iffy business. We want, you know, good, solid business. It's really wonderful to be owned by Berkshire Hathaway. And we service all over the world. So we're in these different items, but I'll show you some pictures before we get into digitalization and artificial intelligence. So the world population grows, you know, that's a continued increase for protein. Poultry and pork is primarily what we serve. And we also make grain bins. So, you know, you need more grain then for feeding animals or for ethanol. And, you know, there's only so much farmland on the earth and population's growing. So the need for us to continuously evolve our products is necessary. Oh, if you don't know CTB, you know, every time you look, I thought I closed down Ring Central, sorry. Drive down the highway and see a grain bin. I always now look for Brock, and it's like, oh, all right, it's ours. We're little feed bins on farmers' land, 15-foot diameter, up to 2 million bushels. So those are made here in Milford, Indiana, or in Kansas City, Missouri. Those are the only two places in the world where grain bins are manufactured. And if you come out for a tour, we had some previous discussions. Can show you Brock or short time or pig tech plants.
Are you based in Milford yourself?
I am, yes. Yeah, we've got maybe 500 people, 400 in Milford. Short time make you know, for pigs or growing broilers, but I guess this picture doesn't show too well. Watering line, feed line, fans on the end of the house, controller, heaters. So that's the equipment that we have. We have similar for pig tech. In Netherlands, our mine, MEYN business unit does the chicken processing equipment. So up to 18,000 birds an hour are supported with our equipment. And the reason I mention that is there's a lot of machines. There's this overhead conveyor. There's motors that run that. You know, so deboning machines and all the other different ones. There's a lot of data. There's controllers. There's a lot of data in this process.
18,000 birds per minute?
Hour.
Oh, per hour.
Per hour. Yeah, sorry.
That's more chicken than I can eat.
Yeah, sorry, per hour. Yeah, thank you. We also have cabinet plant headquartered in Denmark that produces weighers and other types of machinery, blanchers. So good for vegetables and sticky products like potato salad. You need to, you know, dish it out. And so or meat too. And so there's PLCs and there's data from this product line. So let's see if this works. If you don't mind, then I was brought in 7 years ago. This wasn't named, but the vision was there, that we've got all this data. And once again, it's an island. And how do we make it so that, you know, we service from grain to growing animals to processing to shipping to warehouses. So we really are farm to fork. All this data is available. How do we tie it together? So here's a 2-minute, 15-second video, if you don't mind, that does a better job than I usually do at explaining.
Poultry operations generate valuable data every day, from flock conditions to equipment performance to plant throughput. But when that data is locked in separate systems, critical insights are missed, and so are opportunities for efficiency, quality, and profitability. Feed schedules are unoptimized. Health concerns surface too late for correction. Planning and processing fall out of sync. Yields can drop and costs can rise. What if every piece of data across your poultry operation, farm, transport, and processing, could seamlessly work together? What if you could finally see the full picture in real time? Introducing Cynergy, a powerful data platform that bridges the gap between live operations and processing for comprehensive farm-to-fork data integration. Cynergy integrates data from across your value chain, collecting real-time inputs from equipment and systems used throughout your operation, including those from trusted CTB companies. Everything is connected in one centralized cloud-accessible stream. With its open API and system-agnostic design, Cynergy connects to existing smart systems, as well as Cynergy-ready systems from CTB brands. You can count on clean, structured data that's ready to plug into your analytics or visualization tools, giving you the flexibility to work the way you want. That means your team can make faster, more informed decisions, whether you're optimizing feed, monitoring health trends, or improving plant throughput. By aligning farm, transport, and processing information, Cynergy can help you streamline feed and water schedules and resource use, recognize potential health concerns earlier, improve overall flock welfare, reduce waste and increase yield, and monitor efficient transport practices. It's a smarter way to manage your operation, driven by data and built for performance. Cynergy connects the systems you rely on, so your data can do more, helping you improve coordination, boost efficiency, and strengthen every link in your poultry value chain. To explore the power of full data integration for your poultry operation, visit cynergyready.com today.
Oh, that was it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, got back into business here. Okay, so like oats, Purdue's oats, open data. And I had just joined CTB prior to knowing Dr. Buckmaster and that, oats, we could have adopted that, but that connection, this supports REST, MQTT, simple data structure. So no trouble tying in together where that would make sense. So we've got that now for all of those products I showed you. All our controllers support that open API for Cynergy. We call it Cynergy because just to tie it together, I know it's a frequently used product name, but no one had this exactly with the C, so we were able to trademark this one. And it integrates previously disconnected islands of data. So for sure, each of our controller data, I think I've got that in the next slide, well, in a little bit. For a poultry house, the fan, it's getting hot in there. Here's your temperature. You should take action for sure. Farm by farm, or a house, you're going to see the action you need. But what about all the trends, the power of tying this data together to help make decisions? So it's what Purdue and this organization seminar series is about. So we're there to support that. So we've got real-time data integration, and then with that, we've got our Cat Squared organization, software developers in Conway, Arkansas, that are developing dashboards. So for sure, customers will want their own, I need this and that, but here's from Power BI, a start. And so looking across that trends, and I'll show that in a little bit, to take action on. And then once you have a report and something shows red, well, so what? That's not what you really want. You want the tool to tell you to think about, taking this action. So you get AI-driven automation. And so we're at this point right here, which enables these next two. We don't have products off the shelf right now that would say, here's your AI action to take on there, a little bit, but not as much as we would like. And then from, where we've got like that overhead conveyor, which would be half a mile long, the poultry processing plant, there's a lot of motors. If a motor is gonna break, you're gonna over preventive maintenance it so that never happens. But if you could get more life out of that, and really use predictive maintenance, measuring temperature, vibration, power consumption, and you're gonna fail within 4 weeks. Better, you could get more life out of things. So with data all being together, then it enables these next two items. And I like this chart. You all might, oh boy, that's a lot to take. But we are farm, with grain, and we've got dryer data. What type of grain can go to the cloud, which is Azure with our Cynergy Solution. We've got our short time and pig tech. We have two similar sister business units to short time, also in poultry processing, serving different parts of the world, Roxel and Fancom for poultry. And then we've got the processing side with mine, with machines and cabin plant, as I mentioned. And so all of that data then goes to the cloud. And MTech is a popular vendor in poultry. We've got a connection out for supporting that. They don't show oats here. They could. We're enabled effectively an app store. So Intelia, based in Canada, has very accurate poultry prediction software for weight. In 3 days, your bird's going to be this exact way. It's like, yeah, I can counter that. So, we've got then relationships. Well, the API supports it. So you can easily buy Intelia and connect it in to bring that into your ecosystem. So just looking at like the poultry farm, here's a short time controller, and I list about 15 types of metrics, but every, whatever frequency, 10 minutes, over 100 pieces of data values are available. And so that's just, one farm, and then maybe, or a house, and then maybe you've got, 10 houses on that farm, and maybe, you're big, and you've got 1,000 houses, or, whatever, 50. And then you bring in the processing part. It's like, oh my gosh, the data can be overwhelming. So I don't think I'm probably telling this group anything new since you're already here. The value of bringing data together.
How do you, this gadget, how does it connect to all of these different sensors like that?
Yeah.
You're gonna talk about?
No, I wasn't going to. Yeah, so this controller connects with sensors in the house for relative humidity. I don't exactly know how we're getting the water. What's the meter connection?
Is it wired or these wireless? Is it Wi-Fi? Is it?
I think it's a combination of a lot of wired, but I think there's some wireless as well. Yeah, so I'm a little weak on
Okay.
on that, and how the data then gets out to the internet, from a farm.
Okay. That's kind of the area we get into, is sort of build things that do similar sorts of things, not really in the businesses that you guys are in, because we got nothing against poultry. It's just we don't really have any connections there. So we worked on that. We're more, farm side sensors in fields, sensors on machines that are doing farming. We've never gone into the grain bin business yet, although we put a proposal in DARPA to do a similar thing.
Yeah.
In their infinite or lack of infinite wisdom, they did not pick.
Oh, that's too bad.
They picked a different one. We did get on that one, but anyway, these are really interesting things. So
yeah, and so we're for our products, we've got grain bins through production, but you've got crops and other parts. You can bring more to that truly end-to-end picture then. Yeah.
Purdue just bought a grain and just built a new grain elevator. Was it a Brock?
It was not.
Damn it. Sorry.
Turns out asking people for grain bins when they're selling at record high is not I mean, I've only had this job 6 months, but I understand it didn't go great. I mean, they just, why give one away when I'm booked out for 9 months?
Yeah,
Building them at list price.
Yeah.
But we did find a partner who was able to help with some of the labor costs and that sort of thing, but we have 9 packs and like 6 of them need grade men, so let's talk.
Okay, yes, we would like to, I would be very interested, and I know we have the PicTech relationship
No,
from earlier discussion
I'm
today.
mostly joking, but
Yeah.
also trying to pay bills.
Does your grain monitoring stuff only work or is only sold for Brock equipment?
The grain bin controller that we use is a third party, so it works with other products. Our dryer controller only works with our dryers.
I'm just looking for angles,
Okay,
for given where we do our work, for us to connect potentially.
mhm. Yeah, and follow-on conversations, relationship is what we're interested in.
Okay, very good.
Also looking to upgrade our chicken.
Oh, we got a lot of chicken products. Okay. Yeah, come on out to Milford and we'll show you the products and give you a tour.
Excited, I want to go. Even Labrador, I want to go everywhere.
And so, everyone talks about, oh, let's bring our data together, but then I find it's always lacking. And what are, the value of doing that? And surely a lot of customers go, oh, here's what I want, but here's 4 I just mentioned. I don't know why that other stuff is up there, but one is optimizing operations. So if you see, a set of houses has this trend of water consumption or pigs growing at a certain rate, and and then someone is different, you can see that from these trends. Where a controller is giving a house by house picture, now you can see it across to optimize operations. Or if it's on the poultry processing side, maybe there's 3 lines within a building. And a little bit of optimization there turns into millions of dollars a year. So you care about a small tweak. So optimizing operations is one. Supply chain, I'll show you on the next couple slides, an example there. And I'll show you the first one as well. 3 and 4, traceability. So, whether it's for a recall, you need to be able to permit the customer to trace back, or maybe it's, still go to a grocery store and scan the QR code and you can see where your turkey was raised and what it ate and with that kind of data. So traceability is enabled from this regulatory compliance with, from mortality, grade of meat, etc. Are all made easier when you've got this data flowing together.
Those are other areas that we have worked in, sort of trend.
Okay.
As well. We have some work in that area. And, interesting. Sort of, kind of more of protecting the data point of view. How do you trace without letting Walmart see everything?
Okay. Yeah, we've dealt with a decent amount of data security. Any customer's data is private to them. Anything that we bring up into the cloud will anonymize, make sure it's, we're looking at motor prediction, keeping that not attributable to anybody and give away any secrets. Just some examples of with our Power BI, our dashboards, they've got 3 slides, and they're just simple, and it's fake data, because I didn't want to just, but you could see, as simple as feed across different locations, and well, this one's getting low, better fill that, but looking at trends to take action, a couple busy charts, but farm down the left here, and what's your standard deviation of water usage or feed, mortality, temperature. So things that, a report is one thing and it flashes red. But that's not good enough, right? We need to get to make it easy for people. Well, what do you do about that? What should you do? So that's the next step.
Are you tracking every animal?
For pigs, they've got the sensors, but like for chickens, no, no, we're not. No. Yeah, and we do sell our fan unit, and we sell it through short time. You know, we've got the same Xbox cameras, cameras that are used in Xbox. They're very good. Take pictures of. But yeah, on the chickens, we can see, you know, this set of chickens are huddled in this section. You know, maybe we're going to turn up the heat, you know, let them spread out and stuff. But yeah, no, not yet.
You don't want to get too attached to them, though.
Yeah, or seeing this one looks sick, you know, on the chicken basis, but for pigs, yeah. Here's examples. I won't go through them. It's a 7-day water consumption, but 6 parts, so 6 days there. But you know, looking maybe not for just one farm on a trend, because a controller will do that, but looking across farms for water consumption, feed consumption, what's your predicted animal weight, and what is your actual, looking across, who's deviating from that. So these are real dashboards that we have in place for customers to use. What fake data for this presentation. And then the second, so that was on optimizing the farm. That was my first item. The second one is on just an example of supply chain. So, you know, you've got either grain or crops, and you're producing, you know, animals, and then processing plants, and you need to get it to a warehouse for distribution to sell the products. And maybe you've got a lot of farms, maybe you've got multiple processing plants. And just looking at supply chain, if you're producing for 120,000 birds a day, you've got 50 semi trucks maybe coming in of loads. So 50 trucks, you're working with a logistics provider, you need to get them from wherever they are within your few hour radius into the processing plant. Here's the hold times, make sure you're not holding too long for birds, and then getting on to the end product. There's a lot of coordination just in that one part of logistics.
Which one of these things like the critical traceability point in this chain where you lose the most information that you have?
Where we lose it? Yeah, so in the processing plant, we've got chickens coming in, we know for this lot, you know, it is this size. And then as soon as they go through cut up distribution, you know, so now they're in the distribution manager and they go all different ways. Then we now need to move into weighing. And so, you know, it just, that's where you lose a lot. We lose a lot.
You mean you would like to be able to tie the weights to the lot that came in?
Yes.
Kind of unable.
Yeah, so you see your efficiency, you know, so we have to do it with more scales to try to get as much data.
Well, I mean,
as
in
we
theory,
can.
you could do it, of course, but you know, is it because different systems, I mean, you're bringing them in different groups and semi trucks, right? And then at the processing, you kind of, now you're in different sized groups and you just don't connect that? Is it because different systems or different companies or different?
I think, you know, for the speed we're doing it, and then we'll cut things up and we'll put all fillets in the same, you know, buckets. So we still will pay attention to lots, but we're just like, where we could see on a single overhead conveyor, you know, we've got 2 missing, you know, we know how many exact birds there are. Now they move into where you're really looking at things not by part, but by weights, by groups.
Okay.
And is like, I've never been to a processing plant for chickens, but is there like a full camera feed that you have of what's happening at each stage?
We use cameras. There are I think for security in the plants, but we've got for their stunned, typically, and then there's a camera or X-ray to be looking for blood flow to make sure, you know, is it dead on arrival, or, you know, they need to, or is it just done? So we use camera there. We use camera in make sure we get the most breast meat. We use cameras for grading the level of chicken meat. So we do have, and in the vegetables, we use cameras as well. So they're used selectively, not throughout.
Humans are processing these though, right?
Yes, humans, well, parts.
Parts.
Yeah, so, well, let me take that back. What are you saying, Jim?
Well, just to what extent are humans doing the work of just taking the bird's part and
Yeah, in different, usually, for the most part, they're at the end doing whatever's missed by the machine.
okay.
Hanging is done by humans.
Okay.
And we have
So
20
the butchering and the, you know, the disconnection
are coming from a machine.
is really automatic.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. And then there's safety inspectors, and there's our humans.
Yeah,
And then there's, you know, oh, this machine is this, and some hand trimming
Yeah.
at the end of each section.
So if I understand correctly, and please correct me if I'm not getting this right. You were present in every step of the process, from animals being grown to, you know, the meat products being available, maybe even, you know, to consumers in some cases. But more probably to food manufacturers. How does that help you in your strategy making? So I'm thinking more of a business level of the variables or the attributes that you can track as far as like traceability and transparency, like touch from the very farm level all the way down to consumer level, and think about what signals are you getting from the consumers, that those are the things you care about. So those are the things that you should be measuring from the very beginning. How does that play into like your offerings, your business decisions?
Yeah, so I'll answer, let me know if I missed. Cynergy, you know, we have really good, high quality products in each of those that I've shown, but they're islands of data. And those lives would be, if you don't offer connectivity, you know, you're not gonna stay long in this world. And so it's really, really critical that, you know, I mean, even my refrigerator, you know, is connected, right? So better not sell $1 million set of processing plant equipment that, you know, is now makes it difficult for customers to tie it in with their other systems. So, the open API was a no-brainer. You know, the more the better. We think that our controllers all being timed together makes it simpler. And then once you're there, it's a very sticky product. You know, we started with CTB, and we're going to keep going with it to now rip out and I'm going to move to someone else's solution and have to tie in my other systems and have dashboards. That would be pretty difficult. This is, you know, so we want to make sure we do it right and offer a really great product. But we think an open API is good, the more the merrier, and hopefully they'll go with us.
Yeah, because I imagine, you know, coming from a standpoint of just understanding how data flows, having that as a value proposition where you're in every step of the process and you have your products talking to each other is a major differentiator, right?
It is. We think others claim farm to fork. We claim that and believe we're the one who offers that. You know, it's very few if one of the like the others in that space. Yes, exactly.
so when you if we ask me questions, are you gonna miss getting to the point?
Not at all.
Because I don't wanna prevent you from reaching the pinnacle of whatever it is we're gonna say. But yet, we can ask questions all day, and it's a lot of fun.
I enjoy that.
If you're okay with it, well,
Please.
so who owns the chickens clear to the end? Is it typically a single entity? A lot of times I think they're contracting with farmers to raise the chickens, but the chickens are actually owned by somebody else, not the farmer. I guess my question is kind of a little bit in this supply chain.
Yes,
Is it a single company that you can deal with, or do you have to deal with multiple companies
yeah.
along the
You
line?
know, so we're still early in the sales cycle. And you're right, it's multiple companies that are involved. We think the money, where the value of really using this data coming together. Well, one is the integrators who are working out with farmers, contracted out to raise my chickens, or here's my feed and you grow these birds. We think those integrators would find value in this. A farmer will, you know, for $25 per month for this connectivity of Cynergy, are they gonna get much value out of that? You know, if they have 10 houses on their farm and looking at transact, maybe, but we think the integrators for sure, the processing plants.
Well, and if the farmer is doing this for contract reasons, then they'll probably do what people want them to do if they're not their birds.
Mhm.
I guess the reason I asked the question was just that in some cases, in these sorts of supply chains, there's things to protect. You know, and so a single end-to-end data, you know, that can be seen by everybody or by Walmart or
Yeah,
the evil empire or whatever. I'm not sure Walmart's really the evil empire, but you know, Walmart has shown a predisposition to sort of push pressure their suppliers. When they know a lot about what their suppliers do and their business model and what their costs are, they negotiate with them to get a better deal. And so that, you know, there's sometimes reasons to keep certain things from someone else.
yeah,
And so, you know, one of the things that we've been working on is mechanisms that allow software to go to data in order to calculate things.
okay,
It's sort of like the analogy is the IRS and me and my accountant. You know, I don't give my data I try not to give my data directly to the IRS, but yet I give certain data to the accountant, certain calculations are done, the form is filled out, I keep my secret data, and it's only upon an audit or something like that that then I have to open it up. So it allows me to keep certain secrets.
yeah,
And in supply chains like this, sometimes, especially if there's many players, then there
Yeah.
are secrets to keep.
and I wonder how all that's gonna play out myself. Whoever turns on the Cynergy connection, so from the controller, right as you're powering it up, you connect, you choose it. I accept the terms, same thing, everyone reads the terms, right? Click, click, click. But that, you're the one who owns that and permitting the data to flow. And so, you know, whether this integrator is gonna let this company who you're selling to give their secret sauce, you know, yeah,
So we've been working on software solutions to this that allow the answers to flow without all of the data flow.
okay,
So that's kind of the angle.
okay, nice. Yeah, good. Then I'm glad you guys have thought through this stuff. We can find it. So a little bit, yeah, I only have a few slides, so please keep the questions coming. Last year, worked with the data mines, so Kai and team had a dozen students, 2024 to 25 school year, which were those 3 charts I showed you on Power BI that were kind of busy. That was the predecessor to this. You got data flowing in from the controller, short time controller, up to every 10 minutes. How do you work with the right set of data to produce something useful? And so now we've got Power BI charts. This team helped do that. And they took a field trip to our short time. Here's our conference center in the back. You know, it's during the school year, so half the team could make it. But not everyone is pictured there.
This is Milford.
Yes, went to Milford, Indiana.
I'm going to Milford.
Yeah, it's a fun place. You stood up by. But yeah, we worked with farm data, had some processing data, analyze large data sets, look for anomalies, something's not right, send a trigger, and create a Power BI dashboard. That's what the team worked on. So it's pretty cool.
Are you going to work with them next year? Are you excited yet?
Didn't figure that out yet. Because now we've got a person from that, we've got a couple people in Arkansas who are carrying it on, which is good. So that was Cynergy. That's I was hired 7 years ago to bring visualization to our products, and that was a forethought. And so then it was like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And then want to hit a couple slides for visualization AI inside the company in our tools. So we're a normal manufacturing, I think, normal manufacturing company. We make steel and plastic products, big grain bins or plastic feeders for animals. But so we have an order entry system and it feeds ERP. So I think you all have taken ERP class. I didn't know what an ERP was until I think I was 30 years old. But that's the system that runs a company. If you receive an order, you need to buy these types of things. Here's your parts list. And here's how shipping when, collection of money, paying bills is your ERP system. We barcode, all our parts coming in, raw materials, work in process, the finished goods, and then shipping, accounts receivable, accounts payable, all the support organizations, your time reporting of punching in and out, the plans, paying people at payroll, product tech support. There's a lot to manage. And so, with all this talk of AI, where can we really apply it? So I'll give you my view. It might not be right, but this is what I think. Makes sense. The key is to have your data available. Absolutely key. And so luckily with us, we went to a new ERP system 4 years ago, and that has 90-some% of our data. I don't need to also put it into Fabric or wherever to have that data. So that architecture is absolutely key. And then leverage automation and artificial intelligence in commercial tools. We could spend a lot of money paying for third-party companies if we don't have the staff, and we don't, I want to automate this process, this work process in the company. I don't think that's worth it. We're on Oracle ERP. We'll rely on Oracle coming out with their AI capabilities to automate, receipt of an invoice to pay a bill. Right now, we went from touching 100% of them to now 85% come in and they're auto matched to, oh, that's for this product, it's routed to this person, it's auto coded to this. And so then, it's, yes, I really received the 10 PCs I ordered, I hit the approve button, it goes back to accounts payable to put it in automated into the batch. So that kind of stuff is, if we had tried to do that on our own, and you can, there's a lot of companies that offer that, we would have sunk a lot of money in.
Certainly in the past. It's interesting though that, this whole idea of how AI is playing out in the software development world. There are some who say that we'll just use AI to make that software that you would buy because now it's so cheap to do software developing. I think that's BS, frankly. I think that's more hype than AI can handle. AI tools are going to be important, but I think that bullet is likely to still be true. But I was reading the Wall Street Journal, I think it was a couple days ago, and there were these sorts of questions, that why buy this fancy software that IBM or Salesforce or whoever sells when I can basically redevelop it very quickly.
And we don't know how to do that.
I know.
So,
well,
we can use Claude to get half our coding done, but, it's not easy. I don't find that easy to do it all.
Have other people seen that? That idea?
Seen it written about.
Yeah, that's all I've seen.
Seen it done.
Yeah.
But I'm writing about it.
What's the state of digitalization in these areas that you work? Like, what % of stored grain has sensors in the storage in the bin? What % of hogs have data associated with them? I'm kind of curious.
What percent?
Like what percent of of the grain stored has temperature sensors in it or something?
Well, 100% for temperature and moisture.
Okay.
And then, for how full it is is someone looking in or is it a sensor? I don't know. Could be
Well, in commercial.
either one.
So 100% of grain, wow, okay.
I,
Well,
that's my view. That might not be-
Yeah. I'm also real interested in, grain elevator facilities and things like this, because of course there's a huge installed base of old things built in the 50s.
Yeah, but you can have a tether.
Oh, yeah, no,
you
and,
know.
and well, I would guess, I haven't asked them, but I would guess that they're monitoring the temperature in all of their sizable bins anyway.
Yeah.
Elevators are, yes,
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the farmer.
Farmer
doesn't sit
bins,
there.
no.
or you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we climb up on the top of the bin and open the top and smell, with the fan running and see what it smells
Yeah.
like.
But, well, I guess I answered it from commercial. Grain bin.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
30-foot diameter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but poultry houses and pig houses, yeah, I think 100%. Gases, temperature,
Okay,
Well, I think anything large has
Humidity.
got to, because you don't.
you don't want to lose a flock of
Oh
birds.
my gosh, the cost of that would be humongous.
in the news here recently, there's been some like livestock unit fires, I mean, like back in Iowa, there's like a big poultry barn catches fire, right? Are they not, do they not have, sensors in those to detect that? Because, I mean, these pictures look horrible and like, thousands of hogs destroyed, and I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has seen this too or not, but
Yeah,
it seems like that would be quite preventable.
you would think you'd get early warnings on
Yeah.
a temperature going up a few degrees
Right,
or gases changing to alert.
yeah.
Or they weren't adequately paying attention, because that's out of the model.
They
I don't know
weren't,
that.
Oh, yeah.
they weren't Synergy customers.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm sure of that.
That's right, that's right. Yeah. And and I think, so with us, I think, we're Microsoft shop, you get free included Copilot. So we're not paying the $30 per user per month to look through company data. Most people don't need that. I want to analyze 3 contracts. I open up Word, I click the plus button, I can load 3 files and say, compare these 3 contracts. You can do Excel, a whole bunch of stuff, generate slides in PowerPoint. So that's really good. Generative AI, really good. Agents, making agents to do things. I think you leverage the tools that you purchase. That's my view. So you might have, is it so simple? Yeah,
I think it's more likely to be that you're still purchasing the software from I think these big software development houses are going to learn how to use the AI as ways to specialize it and tune it for your organization, and maybe reduce some of the costs associated with that kind of work. But I don't think they're going out of business. But I mean, Wall Street's thought that for a while because they knocked the hell out of all their stock prices, but I just think there's still going to need to be a lot of human in this,
I think so
a
too.
lot of natural, biological AI intelligence and not just electronic intelligence.
Yeah, I think the software engineers you're producing are really important. I don't know if that's going in like, yeah. So I think that's it on slide. So, yeah.
Oh, are you getting the right type of people can you find the right type of people that understand grain and livestock and then can also understand all things digital and data science? Can you find those people to work for your company?
It takes time to find the right skill sets. And so the relationships with Purdue, for example, is key. Finding like data analysts, looking at large amounts of data and processing it. Finding those folks, and then some of them want $200,000, $300,000 a year is like, whoa,
Yeah,
that's not gonna fly. So we need, that can be,
okay.
that's challenging. And then knowing animals is really important.
The people you get from Purdue, do they have the right set of skills for you? How are we doing?
Yeah, Purdue's doing really well. So I think we, CTB, can do a better job of reaching out and informing, making sure that we're starting at, internship opportunities and that lead to then positions. And not waiting until people graduate and then hoping someone still is looking for a job. Yeah, so I think, yes, it makes good sense for CTB. Looking at Purdue.
I was gonna build on Bruce's comment, like, how much do you expect the students coming out of Purdue to know, and how much do you expect you to train them on the specificities of your business, your product or services? Because there's a level of customization, let's put it this way, that you want to put. So how do you think that's played, and how do you think that relationship with the company Purdue is gonna look like in the future?
Yeah, so we expect to train people. So, know our product lines, know our analytics that are in our controller for how to properly raise pigs and chickens, and students bringing in their knowledge is, or at least, awareness is important. Knowing how to work with data is critical. Yeah, how well you're doing, I think really well. I'm hiring now for the last decade or more IT type of people, so I'm a little weak to answer that question. But I know we desire to work early with Purdue, for example, to get candidates before they got full-time position.
So we came over to visit, which